Hello, investors, and welcome to the channel. Let's talk about the markets and what happened last week. We got a sell signal in the NASDAQ and the S&P. Going to go over that right now. So here's the chart of the NASDAQ composite, and you can see we had a nice rally going on for a while. Rallied up to a new high, came down, and last week we touched this blue line, which is the 50-day moving average. Managed to make a little hammer doji off the bottom and then rally for a few days, where ultimately the rally stalled out and then we fell again. And then on Friday, we broke below that previous low and below the 50-day moving average, even though eventually, at the end of the day, we were able to push and close above it. The damage was done because, as you can see here on this orange line, what happened was we came down and we printed a low, then a lower high right here, and then a lower low. And now, if we go all the way back here to this sell off last spring and the ensuing rally that started in May and lasted all through May till now, we can notice if we look at this blue line here and we follow along, none of these lows none of the dips in the market even touched the blue line, let alone broke the blue line. This is the first time since this rally started that we actually came down and not only touched the blue line one day, came back and made a lower low and broke through that blue line, that 50-day moving average, even though we closed above it. We can also see this is the first time in this entire rally where we printed a lower low. You can see all these lows. Here's a low, then a rally, another low, but not quite as low, another low here, again up, even here, very close, but not a lower low. And it continues. Now, this line right here is our orange line, is going to be our support line. If this market continues to sell down, I would expect that it sells down to around the orange line, which is around, what do we got there? 22,186, or maybe just below it to the purple line, which is the 100-day moving average. That one's actually right around, let's just call it 2,200 even on that one, or 22,000, I should say, not 100. Um, so that's where I would expect the stock next support level for, not the stock, for the index to be. Now, of course, that said, it could definitely rally tomorrow and move upward again, but we are not out of this little conundrum caused by this sell signal. This will not be invalidated until we get up here and print a new high. That is the only way we can invalidate that. Until that happens, this remains a potential problem for this rally. And I'm going to hop over to the S&P index. If we take a look at that, we can see it's very similar to what we see in the NASDAQ. We see this April sell-off in the markets, followed by this big rally here, and a bunch of higher highs and higher lows all the way until we get here, and then we see this little, what could potentially be a double top, but with a lower high and then a lower low. But this one was a little better because it's not quite a lower low, not quite. It was off by a couple points there, but it's still not great, not a great signal here. And since the S&P and the NASDAQ really have moved very similar in this uptrend, I would expect a similar reaction. And again, we would have our support level in here. It's very similar with this big down day, which is our October lows here. That would be our support level. And then, of course, the 100-day moving average if the indice continues to fall. And that would put us right around somewhere in just above 6,500. Now we can see, I'm going to jump to the Russell 2000. Now we can see this one's already is ahead of the other two in its meltdown. But the caveat to that is this is not, the Russell's a more volatile index, it seems, and it has not fared as well even during the uptrend. We see that this one has breached that purple or hit that purple line and breached the blue line on several occasions, but still managed to rally up. And then it did it here. And now it's actually sitting down here on the support at the 100-day moving average. So this one could be a precursor of what's happening in the NASDAQ and the S&P. Um, Although I just think this sort of follows the S&P and the NASDAQ, and but shows a little bit more volatility. So um, right now it's sitting at support. If it goes below that support level, then we would probably be looking at, let's grab a 200-day moving average here. Make it an exponential. So we would be looking um, probably down here if this continues to falter. So that's right now sitting at 2283. Maybe that area would be where we would expect the Russell 2000 to go. And I think we've seen that in most of the small caps have had some really big pullbacks already on these. So a lot of small cap stocks I follow have trended way down below their highs for a while now. So that's where we are here. Um, so as far as the Nasdaq goes, the catalyst coming for this week, of course, would be Nvidia earnings on Wednesday. I think that's going to drive the market one way or the other. The market's going to follow how um, what we get out of their earnings and their guidance. So if that's perceived negative, you might have more of a sell-off. If that's perceived positive, the market could just turn itself around and rally up here again. We're looking to get a new high above this 2393 area to just invalidate this signal and call it nothing more than a one-off. Otherwise, we could be looking at another couple percentage lower before we hit some support. And then the other catalyst is that now that we have the government shutdown over, we will start seeing economic data come again. So remember, we haven't had any data in like a month, 40 days, whatever. Um, so the market is kind of very uncertain right now. People, sometimes the rumors are worse than the truth. Could be a situation where once we get some of the data, people might say, well, it's not as bad as we thought, and the market could rally, or the data could come out and say, oh, it is as bad as we thought, in which case um, we could fall again down to this support area for another percentage points. So that's where we stand. It'll be an interesting week to watch. Good luck out there, and stay tuned to the markets to see where we're headed. It's going to be a pivotal week.